Hey Simmers, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you have been here before. This video is about how to have a functional dispensary in your game using the Basemental drugs mod and the Business and Hobbies expansion pack. Not gonna lie, me and my sim definitely faced some challenges trying to get this to work, but in the end, with the addition of a few other mods, I actually did get this to work. I'm gonna go over all of the mods that I use, but before I do, I'm just gonna ask that if you do like this video or find it helpful, please go ahead and hit the like button. If you have something to say, let me know in the comments, and for more content, please subscribe. This video was created strictly for educational and entertainment purposes only. I do not condone the use of recreational narcotics. So some of you who are familiar with my channel might know that I've actually done a video in the past about running a dispensary using the Get to Work pack. This is a little bit different, and I wanted to do this strictly for those who just have business and hobbies. At the time that I'm making this video, Basemental drugs mod has not incorporated functionality to run a dispensary with business and hobbies, but there is functionality for Get to Work. So it's definitely a little bit different, but I had so much fun doing this. There was a lot of drama involved, and it made it extremely fun. And the other thing is, going into this, I really didn't know if my sim was gonna go to prison because, like I said, Get to Work has a process, or Basemental has a process for Get to Work where you can apply for a dispensary license and it's completely legal. In this case, there's no license yet. So I don't know if my sim is gonna get arrested or what going into this. And in this case, I'm also gonna let her go. So those of you who know me know I don't like my sims to go to jail or prison. I usually exit without saving or have them outrun the cops. But if it happens here, I'm gonna let it happen. All right, so let me introduce you to my sim, Athena la Pintora. So in case you can't tell by her name, she is a painter, she's an artist, and she sells art. So this is a multi-function business. She sells art, there's a coffee shop, a dispensary, and of course, she lives there as well. Athena is a level 10 in cooking, gourmet cooking, baking, and also gardening. So the gardening is kind of important here because unlike Get to Work's retail shop, Business and Hobbies relies on crafting. And so your sim is not able to go online and purchase cannabis, dispensary grade cannabis at wholesale prices online legally. So we have to grow it. I do have a bit of a workaround for that, but I'll get to that in a second. You've seen the grow room where she's growing her dro, but let me show you around the rest of the lot. Also, just so you know, there's gonna be some things that change from beginning to end of this video because I did create my own CC and I had to play test the build. So some of the things that you see in the beginning actually might change in the end. Okay, so starting left to right, we're gonna start with the coffee shop. It is on the end, and I call it Cool Beans. It is the world's best cup of coffee. But this is the coffee shop, typical coffee shop. I did use the espresso bar from Get Together. The reason I'm using the espresso bar from Get Together is because I'm actually using the auto spawn employee mod by Little Miss Sam, which is why there's a barista there, and it's cutting down on my need for extra employees. So it does spawn a barista with this one, but with Business and Hobbies, it actually spawns a vendor. So I wanted the barista to spawn, so that's why I am using the one from Get Together. Now on the second floor, because this is actually an internet cafe as well, I do have a lounge area for Sims to read books, and also an area for them to browse the web. And all over the lot, I have a lot of paintings by reference and my own custom content, as I mentioned. So most of the artwork is done by my sim. There's some that I got from the gallery, but like I said, most is done by my sim. So if you're gonna download this lot, you're probably gonna have to get it from my Patreon. It will be free for the public eventually, but I'm just telling you this because I can't upload this to the gallery with all of this artwork. I will upload it to the gallery without the artwork, but the Patreon version will have all of the paintings by reference. Okay, so that is Cool Beans Coffee Shop and Internet Cafe. So let's move on to the art gallery. Okay, so the art gallery is called Athena's studio. Pretty self-explanatory. My Sim's name is Athena and it's her studio, so that's what I decided to name it. So on the first floor of the art gallery, I have a lot of paintings by reference that my Sim did. And the ones on the wall are just for display, so Sims can come and browse art. They're not for sale. But the ones that I put on the art displays are actually for sale. And if you can get your Sim to paint some masterpieces, they can make some really good money with the markup. The dispo is cool, but the art is the real money maker. And I don't know what it is about Sims stealing artwork, but for some reason, some of the paintings on the wall occasionally come up missing. So I don't know what that's about, but it seems like sometimes when I'm not paying attention and I come back, there'll be like a blank spot somewhere on the wall. So I guess it's lucrative for thieves too. But anyway, on the second floor, above the art gallery, we actually have a classroom. So this is a space where Sims can create their own artwork, and also the employees can lecture Sims on whatever they're skilled at, including art, of course. Okay, let's talk about the dispensary. So I decided to call the dispensary High Society Cannabis Store. So this is the dispensary, and I did put the Basemental dispensary license that comes with Get to Work on the build. It's not really doing anything, but it just looks legit. And with Get to Work, it keeps the SWAT team out. It makes your dispensary legal. It also gives you access to order dispensary grade items on a computer from your business. So none of that works here, but maybe one day it will. But it kind of gives like the same vibes as Amsterdam. Even though cannabis is legal in Amsterdam, there's some things like growing it or certain things that are still not really legal there. So I thought it was kind of similar. So it's legal, but it's not really legal. So we're gonna see how this plays out. Now, I did legalize cannabis in the world of Nordhaven through the Basemental settings. And if you don't know how to do that, I have a couple of other videos where I have shown that. But if you're like a beginner with Basemental, you might want to check some of those videos out. And if you prefer another style, there's plenty of creators who have done that. But anyway, back to what is inside the dispensary. My Sim is selling candles, bongs, edibles, pre-rolls, wraps, vape pins, and of course bags of cannabis. So there are some other things that my Sim is selling here. They're not stocked right now, but I'm selling a couple of books on cannabis, and these are not being sold, but I did make some 420 and High Society t-shirts that my Sim or her employees can wear. Sorry, there's none for males right now, but these are the female edition. But anyway, this is the dispensary. On the second floor of the dispensary, there is a place for Sims to chill, smoke, drink, play pool. And that pool table is by the Billiards Mod. If you don't know, I am gonna provide a link in a pinned comment with all of the information on all of the CC and every mod that I'm using in this video. And of course there is artwork and neon everywhere just because I like neon and I like artwork, so it's all over the lot. Okay, onto the top floor where we have pretty much a nightclub or a lounge, another bar, a DJ booth. And the DJ booths, if you don't have them, they do come from Get Together, and I am again using Little Miss Sam's Auto Spawn employee mod to spawn bartenders and DJs, in case you're wondering. And I also have the little cafeteria lunch thingy in the back here in case Sims get hungry. I'm having a vendor spawn there. And there is a hookah lounge outside on the patio. The lounge takes up the entire top floor, and now I'm gonna show you Athena's living space. Okay, so on the end here, I put a little townhome for Athena. I tried to make it as small as I could because I'm really used to building big houses, but I wanted her to have a small living space for one at the end here. So on the first floor, she has a living space, a kitchen, and also, you know, a bathroom. And she really is into bohemian style. She likes a lot of plants. So I kind of try to put that in the build to kind of fit her personality. Even though I wouldn't necessarily decorate my house like this, I try to challenge myself to do things in The Sims that I wouldn't do in real life. So of course on the second floor, there's another bathroom, another living space, and a small area where she can store some of her nice things, because even though she is artsy and she loves bohemian stuff, she still likes nice things. Athena sleeps in the attic. The top floor is actually her room, and it's kind of eclectic, messy, and more bohemian, more plants. So that is it, y'all. That is the lot. Oh, I did forget one thing. The basement. On the bottom floor, you guys saw the grow room. She's growing hydro. I'm using the planters from Eco Living so she doesn't have to water her plants. I also put a couple of bedrooms down there, and just in case she needs somebody to sleep there or move in. But there's a gym, another kitchen, and an employee lounge basically. So that is it. That is the entire lot. I'm sure y'all would love me to get to the gameplay now, so here we go. Okay, so before the grand opening, I had to have Athena do some preparation. Since our cannabis is not really up to par, we have to get our cannabis through other means. Somehow I lost footage or didn't hit record when I was doing this the first time, so I'm gonna have to just kind of show you guys what I did. But one of the ways to get cannabis outside of growing it is through the Basemental Dispensary. You have access to this on your Sim's phone as long as you have cannabis legalized in your world. So your Sim is going to walk out and go into a rabbit hole, and then the Basemental Dispensary menu will come up. So you can actually get things like cure jars, fertilizer, rollies, bongs, seeds, vapes, and bags of cannabis from the Basemental Dispensary. Now, I don't need to buy anything here because I've already done this, but I just wanted to show you this in case you haven't seen it before. But once you make the purchase, the items are going to immediately go into your Sim's inventory. The second way to get cannabis would be through the dark web. In order to access the dark web, I think that your Sim can have a level 5 in any drug dealing skill. So my Sim does have a weed dealing level 10. I did cheat this because I wanted her to have access to certain things. I did it through MC Command Center, but you can also use a cheat command, and I will be sure to put that in the pinned comment. You could also use UI cheats, but anyway, there are a couple of differences between the dark web and the dispensary. So one, the dispensary items go into your Sim's inventory immediately. On the dark web, you have to wait for them to come in the mail. Also, items that you purchase on the dark web, the cannabis is higher quality for a cheaper price, so it's similar to having a dispensary license, but some of the items that you can get from the dispensary are not available. Like you can't get bongs, you can't get vapes. You can basically just get cannabis and edibles, and of course any other drug that you want. But in this case, I'm just having my Sim focus on cannabis because she's not a druggie. So like I said, there's seeds and edibles and cannabis. So I'm not buying anything here because like I said, I already did this and I'm not sure why I lost the footage. I just wanted to show you this. So again, you can cheat your Sim's weed dealing skill and then you'll have access to the dark web. The only thing that I've had her do outside of cannabis on the dark web is the Salvadoranian cigars. But anyway, and also in preparation, I had her bake a lot of things and cook some food. I'm having her bake some edibles, cook pizzas, because in addition to having the dispensary items and the artwork, I'm gonna have her sell baked goods and food as well. So I'm not gonna bore you with too much of that because I think we all know what it looks like for Sims to cook, but since she has a lot of buds in her inventory, she can cook a lot of different edibles, and that's because she's been harvesting cannabis. Even though it's poor quality, it doesn't really matter with the edibles, so that's kind of what I'm having her do. I also had her paint pictures because again, she is selling artwork, so I kind of had to spend a lot of time having Athena prep for the grand opening. And another thing I didn't really catch on tape, or I lost the tape, was me setting up the business, hiring employees, and having activities. I'm pretty sure that the activities here are to purchase items, browse art, drink coffee, and dance. So we're gonna see how this works out. She also hired 3 employees, and I did assign uniforms, which was the high society t-shirt and some jeans. Again, I'm not sure why I did not catch all of this on tape, but anyway, I also stocked all of the shelves with the edibles that she made, and all of the baked goods. So doing all of this just to show you the setup, but we're getting ready to open up shop and see what happens. Okay, so we are officially open. Cannabis, art, and coffee is open. So now let's see if the customers actually purchase the dispensary items or what is going to happen here. We do have our employees showing up, and again, I didn't really catch on tape the task that I assigned them, but I assigned this one over here, the task of cooking, so that's what she's doing. I also have all of them set up to do maintenance and clean, because I think we need a clean environment. And the other employee, you'll see her in a second, she's actually skilled at art, so we're gonna have her paint and also give lectures on art. So we do have some customers showing up, but for some reason the barista is just stuck outside. I don't know what's up with that, but he's just standing there. And I really haven't seen much activity in the dispensary, but the barista finally came in. Like I said, I don't know why he was stuck outside, but we do have customers buying coffee, so that's a good thing. And Athena has just been kind of working it, talking to her customers, talking to her employees, but I don't know if they're just not buying too much because maybe her business renown is too low. Not really sure. But anyway, yeah, this is day one, and we have customers moving about the lot, browsing art, painting, and our other employee that I mentioned, she's actually in the classroom giving lectures. So yeah, the dispensary, the bartender is in there, but not too much activity in that part of the lot, and I'm not really sure what that's about. But again, maybe it's because of her business renown. I'm not really sure. Okay, so it says her renown is growing. She received her first positive customer review, so maybe things are gonna get better. But again, I don't know why the customers are kind of sticking to the first two buildings. They're not really browsing the web either. Again, maybe it's because I don't have enough customers. Not really sure, but I'm just gonna go ahead and skip ahead to the final earnings, because not much was happening here. Nobody's dancing, nobody's buying drinks, I don't know. But so far, nobody has bought anything. She's been open for 6 hours, only 4 customers, and $66. So it is almost 11 o'clock, and we do have some Sims that hit the dance floor. Don't really see much activity in the dispensary, but my Sim just leveled up her renown level. She is now a hopeful hustle. So she is a renown level 2, but unfortunately there's really no small business perks I can use here, so that's kind of useless. But the coffee shop has been pretty lit all night, so that's the one place. The baristas are finally staying, and customers are definitely buying coffee. Okay, so we're getting ready to close up shop, and I'm gonna show you day 2, and I'm gonna show you all of the drama that my Sim went through before we made this business profitable. But if you see on day 1, she only made $161. That's not really gonna cut it, because my Sim pays like over $25,000 in bills every week, so yeah, she can't live off of that. So I'm skipping ahead to day 2, but I did want to show y'all, like, since I somehow didn't get it on recording, what activities I'm using, and also I want to make some changes to the business because we're not charging an entry fee, so I want to change that, see if we can make this a little bit more profitable. But I also want to show you what we have our employees doing and stuff like that. So I am using a mod to add more activities to the business. So as you know, with business and hobbies, you can have 5 activities. Well, I added a mod which gives me the ability to add 10. So we have browse and buy items, browse the web, drink coffee, drink bar drinks, attend classes and lectures, dance, paint, and use the bubble blowers. Now maybe this is overkill, but this is a big ass lot and I want the Sims to actually use all of the things on the lot. I also added an entry fee here. So like I kind of mentioned in the beginning of this video, I do get this to be profitable where my sim can actually make a living. We're not there yet. I want to get to that. But like I said, I need you to see all of the bumps and bruises that me and my sim experience trying to get here. And the mod that I'm actually using is by Lunar Brittany. It's called More Activities or More Business Activities, but I will provide a link to that. And I'm gonna go ahead and open the business, but just a note, if you happen to use that mod, just make sure that if you decide to delete the mod after adding 10 activities, you put it back to 5. Because I made the mistake, I had to learn this the hard way because I pretty much tested everything. I added 10 activities, I removed the mod, and I thought my UI was messed up, and I was pretty much ready to go off because I was like, oh my God, this mod messed up my UI, but it didn't. It's just that you have to put it back to 5 if you add 10 and then delete the mod because the game does not recognize 10 activities and you might have a problem. Okay, Cannabis Art and Coffee is opening now for the second day of business. But I want to introduce you to my employees. So of course we have Athena, which you know is my owner. We have Sarah Matlock, Mariangel Mata, Yumi Harada. They all bring a little bit something, a little something different to the table. I kind of have most of them doing maintenance and cleaning up because I think cleaning the lot is important, but they all have different skills. So some of them know how to do art, some know how to cook and bake, and some, like Sarah Matlock, who doesn't really have too many skills, she just needs to be funny, clean up, and do maintenance. So those are my employees. But that's neither here nor there. Again, I'm kind of going to skip ahead here, talk about what happened on the second day. And eventually I'm going to just get to the point where I talk about how I made the business work. And there's an Easter egg in here because there was kind of like an epiphany that I realized would fix things, not just for business and hobbies, but all around. I'm gonna get to that later, but I hope you guys listen long enough because some of you have commented on other videos with a problem that I think I might have a solution for if you stay tuned and watch a little bit longer. Okay, so apparently, just like us, Sims love coffee because I feel like that's the most lucrative part of this business right now is the coffee shop. I have had some Sims come in and buy art, but for whatever reason, they're not really frequenting the dispensary at this point. And like I said, that's just not gonna work. Like, my Sim needs money. She needs more Sims to buy things. I don't know, again, if it's her business renown or what is causing them not to buy a lot of things at this point. She did level up to a striving startup, so she is now a level 2 in business perks. So I'm gonna have to buy some perks, but her net profit on this day was only $289. That is not gonna cut it. So drastic times call for drastic measures. So I'm gonna have my Sim do a little extra right now to make some money. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but this is not enough. This is not gonna work. This is not worth it. My Sim was a millionaire. She now has less than $500,000 and she's losing money. So I had to try to give my Sim a little bit of time to enjoy life because she literally has no life. She's always trying to open this business and do things, but for whatever reason, she likes Aikido in a way. Now, he's been in some of my other videos and he's kind of lazy. Like, he was in the gang video. I don't really know why she's attracted to him, but she is in the single and loving it lifestyle. So she also hung out with my Sim, Quentin Sweeney. Some of y'all may remember him because he's been in several of my videos. So I just want to talk about that for just a quick second. This is a little crazy because actually he is a New Crest thug, but they're right outside of the 15th Street gang hanging out in San Myshuno. I mean, he had no problem playing the guitar out there, acting like nothing was wrong. In so many of my other videos, the Sims fight. They throw hands. Like when they see people from the ops, they fight. So I don't know. Quentin's pretty bold. I'm like, okay, but Quentin been trying to hook up with Athena. I thought they make a cute couple, and he's better than Aikido. Aikido works for him. But anyway, I try to give her a life. So I kind of took a break from the business, and I don't know if you can tell, but her funds are just going down drastically because she's still having to pay bills and she's just not making money, but she does deserve to have a social life. And just a note, I like a really populated game. I like a lot of Sims in my game. I've been playing the same game for a really long time. So I don't know if some of you have been watching all of my videos, but if you notice, sometimes the same Sims that were in the last video are in this video. That's because I just kind of do a lot of rotational play and I love to have a lot of Sims. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later because it does affect your business. When you have a heavily populated game and there's a lot of Sims in your game, things like spawning employees or having customers is a little bit easier. So if your computer can handle the bandwidth of having a lot of Sims on a lot or having a lot of Sims in your game, it's actually beneficial for things like this. So I'm going to move on now and kind of talk about the drama that Athena went to before she made her business profitable. I'm going to give you a quick rundown because I know I've been talking for a really long time. So enough about Athena's personal life. Her money was starting to go down too much. So I started to have her go on the dark web and list some of that Reggie she's growing in her basement for sale on the dark web. Is it a really good idea? We'll find out in a minute. But she is listing the weed that she has in the basement, or that she has cured and packaged from the basement for sale. Because as I mentioned, it's lower quality than the other stuff that she's getting. Now it's starting to level up some, but we're going to go ahead and list some of this for sale on the dark web. So the same way that you can buy things on the dark web, you can sell things on the dark web as long as your drug dealing skill is high enough. And so, as you know, she's a level 10 with weed dealing, so she's able to sell things on the dark web. So she just listed a Ziploc bag of AK-47 for sale, and I had her list some other things. So again, you can go under the drugs menu and then dark web and list drugs for sale. And then because weed is the only one that she has a skill level in, she's only able to list weed. So that's what I'm doing. And once a customer is interested in buying the weed, you will get a notification and you'll be able to send it out of the mailbox. So just to add to all of the drama and more expenses, a fire broke out in the coffee shop. So it's total chaos. It's clearly going to cost money to repair this. And now we just have to have a fire just to add extra stuff on top of everything else. So as the fire broke out, and the chaos ensued, Athena did get a buyer that was interested on the dark web. And it's really like not the most money making thing. I mean, I can't believe that's my Sim Devante. He really is burnt to a crisp standing behind the counter smoking out of a bong. That's interesting. But anyway, we have a buyer. So I'm going to have Athena mail the product to the buyer on the dark web. And I don't really know why this is still kind of considered illegal, because cannabis is legal. She owns a dispensary, so I'm not really sure why you can't mail weed through the mail. But I guess, you know, it is the dark web for a reason. But anyway, she's going to go ahead and send this through the mail. But on another note, the business actually is starting to pick up. We do have customers making more retail sales, and they're using everything in the lot. They're actually smoking the hookahs, they're dancing, they're browsing the web, they're drinking coffee, they're drinking bar drinks. So I think that maybe some of this did have to do with the business renown. Another thing that I noticed is because I used bb.move objects cheat when I build lots, which allows you, if you don't know, I know a lot of people know, but some of you may not know this, but BB.move objects let you basically place objects anywhere you want. You don't have to place them where it says, you can't place things there. And I'm thinking because I always have that on, that the customers were not able to reach certain things. So I kind of rearranged some of the items in the dispensary with BB.move objects off. And I think that actually helped. So the customers are starting to buy things more. And her business actually became a little bit more profitable. So she made a bigger profit now, or she's starting to make a bigger profit. I'm not exactly 100% pleased with it because I like, a lot of money. And I like a sim to be able to work smart. I don't think that they should have to have their business open for 24 hours or 14 hours just to make a little bit of money. So for whatever reason, the Sims really like to buy pizzas, but I am seeing some sales in the dispensary. As you can see, he just bought a pre-roll, so it's finally starting. But anyway, we went on and closed the business. It was open for 21 hours and she made $3,500. I think that she can do better. Well, I know that she can do better. And again, I'm gonna get to that in a second because that is not the most that she's gonna make from this business. Okay, y'all. So my sim selling on the dark web eventually caught up to her. Unfortunately, my sim got arrested. I didn't actually catch the arrest on camera because I was focused on a different part of the lot at the time, but the SWAT team has showed up and they're actually confiscating her cannabis and things from the shelves. But she's not getting arrested for the dispensary. She's actually getting arrested for selling on the dark web. So one of the things that a good thing that came out of this is I noticed that the SWAT team could not get to certain items on the shelf. So maybe that's why the Sims are having trouble. But what was blocking it was my own custom content. That cannabis sign and the leaves in the background. I'm not going to get too much into detail about custom content, but there's something called collision and I didn't do it correctly. So I fixed it after this, so it's safe for y'all. But this custom content was actually getting in the way of my Sims buying items from the shelf, but it is fixed now. So hopefully Athena's gonna start making more money when she finishes dealing with her court case. But anyway, we're gonna select a law firm. Now this is something that you do from the Basemental drugs menu. We're gonna do the top one, Douche and Scum. You probably can't afford it, so why even bother? But she's gonna go ahead and spend that $25,000 and hopefully she doesn't spend a lot of time in prison. Poor Athena is just taking L's left and right. I mean, she's having to spend money left and right between fires, between the SWAT team confiscating her product, and now she has to spend money on a lawyer. No bueno. Okay, it says, you will not regret this. We will represent you in court the best way money can buy. Okay, all right, Douche and Scum, we'll see. Sis is tired and stressed out. She went straight upstairs to smoke the pre-roll that I had laying on the table. And I don't blame her because this has been so much drama. Again, she's losing money. She's having problems left and right. Fires, court cases now. So she's doing things that are going to bring her peace. She likes I don't know. She doesn't really necessarily love taking care of her plants, but I'm going to have her take care of her plants and cure some more cannabis so that she can try to recoup some of her losses. And another thing that I noticed, y'all see the boxes on the floor, the storage boxes. The SWAT team does not go in the storage boxes. So if you want to stash some things and you don't want them messing with it, and I don't know if this is just like a bug or a detail that was missed, but they don't go in those storage boxes. So if you want to stash something, put them in the box and they won't take it from you. Okay, so let me open one of the boxes and just show you what I'm talking about. She's going to have, so if you open this box, they missed all of this. So all of these, this is what I've been using to keep some, because I don't want her just outside all the time with all of this weed in her inventory. So I've been putting them in the boxes when she cures them. So she still has a lot of weed to sell. And hopefully once I fix the issue, which I did, because I'm talking in past tense right now, fix the issue with the cannabis sign. If you notice, I tried to shrink it right here because I thought that maybe it was just too big, but later on, you'll see in the video that I actually made it big again because I figured out my own custom content thing. So I'm kind of, I've been dabbling with the custom content for a while, so I still have some things to learn. But like I said, I fixed it after this part. So we're restocking the shelf, and eventually we're going to go back in business. But before that happens, let's talk about what happened to Athena when she went to court. So Athena's trial is starting. So I'm going to go ahead and close her business. And she made a little bit more in 19 hours than she did last time you guys saw. So like I said, it just keeps going up. So let's see what happened at her trial. All right, the trial ended. So according to Duche and Scum, the judge ruled the defendant to pay a fine and a short prison sentence starting immediately. Do I have any choice but to say okay here? I really was hoping that she would get probation. I mean, it's her first offense. She doesn't have a criminal record, so I don't even know why she has to do any time. So I don't know if Duche and Scum helped or didn't. But anyway, Athena is in prison. It says that she was fired from her job at small business, which is actually not true because she's the owner of the business. So, you can't fire her from what she owns. But anyway, one of the things that I noticed here, while you are locked up, you can actually open the business. So the only good thing about prison is that your sim increases their fitness level. And unfortunately, I don't have any other sims in this household, so I'm just trying to go fast speed through this because Athena is the only sim in this house and I have nothing to play right now. So I'm just trying to wait for her to get out of prison. And while your sim is in prison, these little scenarios come up and your sim pretty much has to politic their way through prison, and they could make bad decisions, get more time if they don't make the right decision. But we're going to go ahead and open up the business. And, for whatever reason, you can open the business while your sim is in prison. So unfortunately, she can't do things like greet customers or anything like that, but you can make changes to it. I can go in build buy mode. The employees will actually show up. So that is the good news. She can still make money. So she didn't make a lot of money. She only made $609 while she was in prison on this day that I have it open. So it's not a huge profit, but I guess something is better than nothing. But I just want to take a second here again to talk about mods because I told you guys earlier that I have a mod to add more business activities by Lunar Brittany. I also have a mod that's called More Business Visitors by Lunar Brittany. So that is supposed to add more visitors. I think, at every level that you get, you kind of get more business visitors, and somehow that increases it. So I did put that mod in as well. But I am going to go ahead and skip to Athena getting out of prison. So it just happens to be Juneteenth, and my sim is free at last. She just got out of jail and says that she's on her way home. And it actually takes you to the prison at this point, which I didn't know because I've never had a criminal sim before, or I've never let them go to prison. And I've never let a sim do their time. So hopefully some of y'all are proud of me that I actually let a sim do their time in prison. But she's gonna go home now and she's not going back again. Okay, so because of what happened, I went in to create a sim and I gave Athena a brother because even though I don't plan on her going back to prison, I just wanted another sim in the household to help her. Okay, introducing Apollo La Pintora, and I know that translates to Apollo the Painter Girl, but I don't know, blame their bisabuela, I don't know, but that's his name. I'm not gonna change it. That's her brother, and I'm gonna go ahead and cheat some of his skills because I really just don't have the patience to play with him. I've been playing this for a long time. As you can see, it is now fall. I started this winter, so it's almost a whole sim year later, and I just needed somebody to help her on the lot. So Apollo is here, and the other thing I'm gonna have him do is open a separate business because of course the businesses can only be open for 24 hours, and I don't want to hire him as a separate employee. I'm just going to let him open a separate business, which he's going to focus on just selling the cannabis from the cannabis store, so that maybe if the activity for him is just buy and sell items, maybe that will move the product a little bit faster. So that's why I'm adding Apollo. Okay, so since I'm in MC Command Center, and I just added Apollo, I need to talk about something that is extremely important. So something that I mentioned earlier, I said I kind of have an Easter egg for y'all. I have figured something out that I wish I figured out a really long time ago. So when I was playing through this, sometimes I noticed that I was having issues with my employees from the auto employee mod staying on the lot. And then, I don't know, it just dawned on me. I said, what is the maximum sim count for a lot? Because this is an extremely busy lot. So I looked it up and the default is 20. And I think that's my problem. I have 2 bars, a barista, a vendor. I have a lot of sims on this lot and it's extremely busy. So I said to myself, you know what? That's probably my issue. Is this is why sims can't stay on the lot. And if you're having the issue on other lots, like for example, the Wicked Whim strip club, you might want to try that there. So this is what I said was basically an epiphany. So if you are on your lot, you can click on a computer, click MC Command Center, and I'm going to go to MC Population. And there's something there under other settings that says maximum sims in zone. So I first increased it to 50 and then changed my mind and said, you know what, I'm going to put it to 60. Now, I only suggest this if your PC can handle it, because everybody's computer may not be able to handle a really busy lot. If yours can, I definitely suggest this. You're going to get more customers to your lot. You're not going to have sims leaving because you have too many sims on the lot. So this almost solved all of my problems with this. And so I'm going to show you guys what the lot looks like, what my profits look like after making all of these changes now, because, okay, so there we have it. My sim made $21,342 and served 58 customers in 23 hours. So that is the difference. The other difference is we're moving everything. They're buying the cannabis, they're smoking the hookahs, they're doing everything on the lot. They're browsing the web, they're doing all of the activities. And this is not as good as it gets. I'm just showing you the difference. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I had Apollo start his own business, which is just strictly for the dispensary, and it's called High Society Dispensary. And the only thing or the only activity I have set up for his business is to buy and sell items. So one of the things I noticed here was when I have that activity only, first of all, sims still partake in other things on the lot, but they really buy a lot more. So it is helpful if you actually want to sell things, to just have that as an activity. And the dispensary started to make a lot more money when I did that. Matter of fact, the shelves were pretty bare. And as you can see, Apollo made $20,035. He also made $15,750 in retail sales. So some of that came from Athena's artwork, because even though I want to focus on the dispensary, they're still buying artwork. So he has no employees as well. This is why he also made a profit. He has no entry fee, and that's how much he made in 24 hours. So that's not bad. I mean, I don't think he had to stay open 24 hours, or 23 hours. Actually, he served 53 customers, and I have definitely had to restock the dispensary and the edibles and the food quite a bit while his business is open. So as for Athena, her business is really taking off. She made $12,364 in 13 hours, which is way better than she was doing in the beginning. She's making a lot more retail sales, but because she has so many activities in her business, it's not just coming from the retail for her. But there's been so much drama. I wish I could show y'all, but I mean, it took so long for me to show you what I did, that I can't show you everything, but it's just been so much craziness. I mean, she even got abducted by an alien while this was happening, and then she had drama in her love life. Like, I wish I could just show you guys everything, but this was about the business and hobbies and opening a dispensary. So my takeaways here, I suggest, if you are going to open a dispensary and you really just want to sell cannabis, then don't have so many activities on your lot. But this was a multi-function business. She is selling the cannabis and it's actually moving now. And like I said, the Sims are playing pool, they're smoking hookah, and I just love playing on this lot at this point. It was so fun to me. I'm just showing you guys how to do this, but I wish you could see like how much fun I had playing with this. I hope you understand that I did. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this here because I have been talking for a really long time. This is my longest video ever, I think. But I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you find it useful. And of course, if you have any questions or if you can, give me some helpful information, I would appreciate that. So let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.